Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your Money in the Bank pre-show and pay-per-view results. But first, as usual, some wrestling news heard around the world. NXT star Marcus Lewis is currently out of action with a leg injury, as well as Cal Bishop. He's out of action with a torn rotator cuff, and he'll be out 7 to 8 months if he needs surgery. And some more developmental talents. Kyler Breeze has a broken finger. Corey Graves had a second concussion. Kendall Sky broke her wrist. Dana Brooke has a leg injury. Veronica Lane has an injury. Slate Randall was out of action with a concussion, but he tweeted that the concussion came earlier in May, and he's already cleared to return to wrestle. Now for your pre-show, from Boston, Massachusetts at the TD Garden, Renee Young, Booker T, Alex Riley, and Christian serves as the host of the pre-panel show. They encourage the viewers to send in questions for the Daniel Bryan interview. Tom Phillips checked in from Social Media Lounge, serving as a replacement for Young, who was promoted to the host role due to the recent departure of Josh Matthews, who is no longer with WWE, as it was released last week. Daniel Bryan video package aired. The panel spoke briefly. Backstage, Roman Reigns was interviewed by Byron Saxton about the Money in the Bank match. His plan is to attack. Believe that, as he said. Money in the Bank numbers video package aired. That video noted that there have been 5 cash-ins on Raw. Yet none at WrestleMania. Ric Flair was the oldest man to enter the Money in the Bank, and Jack Swagger is the youngest to win. Renee Young then announced that Bad News Barrett is out of the Money in the Bank match. Of course, due to his shoulder separation, he's going to be out several months. Panel made predictions. There was no mention as to who will replace Barrett in the match. Several nominations from the internet go to Bo Dallas. Wait to see what happens on that. My internet feed was going in and out. I missed the whole entire pre-show. Along with half of the pay-per-view. Come in, go out. Come in, go out. Get pulled, go somewhere else. As Daniel Bryan was interviewed by Michael Coleslaw, the crowd went nuts for Bryan as he responded with a yes orgasm chant. Coleslaw welcomed Bryan back and asked for an update on his health and when he will be back in the ring. Then he did the Bad News Barrett gimmick. This is where I've got some bad news. I don't know when I'm coming back. Unfortunately, the strength hasn't come back in my arm. And they're talking about maybe doing another surgery. But I promise you, I will be back. And I will be better than ever. Also, I asked Bryan about knowing someone will take the WWE World Championship later on tonight. Bryan said that he would much rather be in the ring defending his championship, but it wouldn't be possible without a Daniel Bryan story, without a few setbacks. He said he would return to the ring and win the championship. Coleslaw read questions from Twitter, starting with his pick for the Money in the Bank winner. Bryan said he had 3 picks: John Cena, Randy Orton, and Roman Reigns. Bryan noted that he thinks Reigns is incredible, and he was the only one of the 3 that the crowd cheered for. Bryan was asked about being stripped of the championship. He said he found out when everyone else did. He said it bothered him that Stephanie McMahon was so smug when she said it. Someday someone is going to come out here and wipe that smile off of her face, as he said. Bo Dallas' music played and he walked to the ring and passed the set, which had Money in the Bank truck and ladders set up on it. Dallas said he was listening backstage and understands Bryan can't compete. Gosh, that's got to be such a pain in the neck, as Dallas said. He told Bryan that life is about the journey. He said Bryan may not be able to climb the ladder, but he can climb the ladder of life and make his way back to the top. All you have to do is believe, Dallas said. Bryan told Dallas that he appreciates his concern, but he's acting like a boner. I think I speak for everyone when I say believe. Bryan led the crowd chants yes as chants as the music played to close out the segment. If you didn't get that, they'd be both leave the ring. Leave the set. A good segment with Brian putting a happy face on the news that he may need an additional surgery. A good rub for Bo Dallas being in the ring with the most popular wrestler in the world. Panel made their predictions for the Money in the Bank Championship match. Riley took Bray Wyatt, Christian took Randy Orton, and Booker took Orton as well. And then let out an obnoxious laugh. Wyatt family sound on Thunder's lips as Renee Young was trying to close the show. Luke Harper said that the time is up for the Uso brothers. We're coming, he said. Eric Rowan, wearing the sheep mask, delivered the run line to close out the pre-show. Now for pay-per-view. Well, you know what's going to open the pay-per-view? Uso brothers made their entrance for a tag title match. Michael Cole, JBL, and Jerry King Lawler checked in on commentary. Smash and House team had checked in for a moment. All 6 broadcast team members had Mountain Dew bottles in front of them. Luke Harper and Eric Rowan entered to the music. That started with a solo version from the kids' choir singing "The Whole World's in His Hands," and then the switch to the rock music. Uso Brothers versus Luke Harper and Eric Rowan for the titles. Holzall narrated highlights of the team's recent storyline developments. Uso Brothers had the first run of the prolonged offense. Jay hit a nice running forearm off the ringside barricade onto Rowan. However, Harper distracted Jay a short time later, and then Rowan pushed Jay off the top rope and into the barricade. Jimmy took a hot tag for Jay at 7 minutes 30 seconds in and had a run where he worked over both Wyatt family members. Jimmy hit a pair of super kicks on Harper for a 2 count of 8 minutes 50 seconds. There was a good near fall when Jimmy rolled Harper up for a 2 count of 9 minutes 55 seconds. Harper came right back with a big power bomb on Jimmy for an even better near fall of 10 minutes 5 seconds. The crowd chanted, "This is awesome." Uso Brothers did suicide dives. Rowan caught Jimmy and held him on for Harper to hit his own suicide dive on him. Harper and Rowan had Jimmy pinned inside the ring, and our feed broke out. So, and as well as the pin was broke up, Rowan went up top at 12 minutes 10 seconds. Jimmy cut him down. Uso Brothers performed double superplex on Rowan at 13 minutes, and they performed back-to-back rope splashes on Rowan and pinned him. And in the entire match took 13 minutes 45 seconds, and the Usos retained. Fantastic opener for the pay-per-view and a great tag title match. All 4 men worked extremely hard and was a good mix of brawling, the high spots with unbelievable near falls. JBL put it over repeatedly as the biggest title defense in the Uso brothers have had to date. Broadcast team then spoke at ringside and set up a video package. Dean Ambrose apparently cut a promo before the match, but there was a WWE Network glitch that required a restart, even for the reporter that reported the internet results. Paige versus Naomi with Cameron for the WWE Championship. Not much crowd reaction beforehand. Paige and Naomi fought to the ringside right off the bat. Referee pulled them apart and got them back inside the ring. Paige connected with a drop kick. Naomi came back with a big dive over the top rope. And onto Paige on the floor, which drew gasps from the live crowd. Cameron acted like she was more concerned with her nails than the match at one point. She also laughed when Paige put Naomi in a submission hold. Naomi escaped the hold and then came back with a forearm shot, and then a rear view for a 2 count. Naomi performed split-legged moonsault, RVD style, but Paige got her knees up. Paige came back with a great DDT and scored a clean pin. 7 minutes 15 second match, more than a normal Divas match. They packed a lot into the 7-minute match. Really good work. The live crowd didn't seem to care going in, but they did react to the big spots, even if they didn't seem to have a strong favorite. In terms of who won or lost, Cameron played her part by acting dismissive early and then went happy when her partner was suffering. She acted like she was comforting Naomi afterwards. I thought we would see the turn up tonight, but happy with what they decided to tell more of a story rather than to rush it into it. I still worry that Cameron will struggle as a singles heel simply because her in-ring work has left so much to be desired. Broadcast team then spoke at ringside about the WWE Network and what you get for your subscription price. Pre-show panel spoke, same Money to Bank numbers. Video package that aired during the pre-show aired. Damien Sandow came up dressed like Paul Revere as my feed came back in for this match. Yeah, that was the promos to start off. And said if he would known Boston was going to turn out the way it did, he never would have warned them about anything. Yeah, he would dress up as Paul Revere and even doing the stick. And Adam Rose and the Rosebuds came out for an impromptu match. Filler match, because I don't think this was advertised. Rose did head scissors, face type of move early on. There was a rest hold for about 4 or 5 seconds. Sandow hit his finisher for a near fall. Rose came back with a party foul for the win. And the match took 4 minutes 15 seconds. Pick this one this time to reinstall the network app because so much this one going by the reporter. Thanks to ProWrestling.net and Jake Barnett description. He watched it on his phone. He picked the right time to do it. Jon Stewart was at ringside, showing at ringside. The new broadcast team members spoke at ringside once again, stated that Bad News Barrett would not be able to compete due to severe shoulder injury. Video aired of the Money Back contract. Wrestlers delivering promos in front of a black screen. RVD appeared to have a cough drop in his mouth during his promos. They posted the talking and worked Boston into his promos for Swagger. So we get Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose versus Kofi Kingston versus Jack Swagger with Jeff Coulter versus RVD versus Dolph Ziggler in a Money in the Bank match for the contract for a future title shot. It's good for 1 year, don't forget. Ambrose was the last man introduced. He came out looking like Cliff Pumpkin again with a 50s gimmick and went right back with Ambrose, which got a big pop from the crowd. Kingston lived up expectations from the innovation by walking up a ladder that Swagger was holding and having a ladder he was standing on pushed over by Ambrose, yet landing onto the top as the feed goes out again on my internet feed. Diving onto the heap of wrestlers at ringside, RVD made a play for the belt, but Kingston pushed him down. Swagger pulled Kingston down. Then RVD and Kingston ran a ladder into Swagger. A friend of mine was texting me some of the results from this and mentioned that Dean Ambrose was taken out of the match, sent to the back, and was banned from the match again. Kingston and RVD squared off and ended up fighting on the ropes. Swagger struck Kingston from behind with a ladder. Swagger set up a tall ladder at 9 minutes 5 seconds in, climbed near the top, and then pulled RVD off the ropes and went for a superplex. RVD fought off and took Swagger and a back bump in the middle of the ring. RVD played the crowd in the backfire with Rollins returned to the match by attacking him from behind. RVD then set up for a superplex, but Swagger recovered and went underneath him and ended up power bombing RVD into the ring at 10 minutes 30 seconds in. Ambrose returned and superplexed Rollins from high on the ladder. As my buddy texted me about being taken out of the match, it kind of got me confused. I was like, anything goes in a ladder match. There were several replays of the move, including one from the above the ring, 14 minutes 15 seconds in. Ambrose ended up alone on the ladder, and the crowd came to life, thinking that he was going to take the belts down. He had a second to let Swagger pull it down. Rollins climbed the other side of the ladder. Ambrose used his shoulder to knock the ladder over while selling his other shoulder. A referee and trainer checked on Ambrose. He argued with the trainer and told him to pop it right now. Several referees and additional trainers made Ambrose go backstage at 16 minutes in. I guess this was where he was confused when he texted me. He was taken out of the match like he was banned from the match. Rollins climbed the ladder and made a play for the briefcase, but RVD cut him off. Kingston grabbed a smaller ladder at ringside and set it up over the top rope and on the ladder. Then joined Rollins and RVD brawling on the ladder. RVD then got his leg caught in the ladder and came down awkwardly while holding his hamstring. Rollins and Kingston fought on the top of the ladder. Kingston back dropped Rollins onto the second ladder in a holy shit moment. Rollins and the ladder bounced on the top rope, and Rollins' head landed on the bottom rung of the ladder. Kingston was alone with the briefcase, and the crowd roared. But Ziggler returned out of nowhere and pulled him down. Ziggler and Kingston fought. Ziggler dodged a kick from Kingston and then pulled him back by the head and onto the ladders that were already lying in the ring. Ziggler then climbed another ladder, but Swagger grabbed his leg and pulled him and put him in the Patriot lock while he was still on the ladder for 19 minutes, 50 seconds. And Ziggler pulled himself up with his arms and then kicked Swagger to knock himself free from the hold. Ziggler then looked up to the briefcase and got some cheers. Ziggler sold the ankle injury while climbing slowly. Rollins returned and slammed the chair over the ankle of Ziggler, which knocked him off the ladder. Rollins slammed the chair over Ziggler's back again. Rollins then climbed the ladder. The crowd chanted for Ambrose, and they got their wish, but he ran out 21 minutes, 25 seconds in and slammed Rollins with repeated chair shots to big pops. And no text backs from my buddy, as he had to work till 7. He normally watches pay-per-view with me. He was texting it me from his feed. Ambrose said something was censored. Something that was censored. He sold his shoulder injury and he came off the ladder, climbed off the ladder again. The referee pulled Zeb Coulter away from the ring post, and then Kane's pyro hit. I guess he was in replacement to be Wade Barrett. Kane ran out to prevent Ambrose from grabbing the briefcase. Ambrose fought off briefly, but Kane pulled him down and chokeslammed him, drawing boos from the crowd. Kane performed the tombstone pile driver on Ambrose. Rollins climbed the ladder while Kane watched and took down the briefcase to win the match. Triple H and Stephanie McMahon came out and celebrated with Rollins on the stage, and the match took 23 minutes, 35 seconds. Well expected on the Kane finish, but a hot match otherwise. Sure, there were the usual awkward moments where guys had to wait on the top of the ladder for someone to stop them from taking the briefcase down, and there were unexpected prolonged absences from various guys. Putting that aside, there were some really wild spots and some well-received briefcase teases involving various wrestlers. Here's hoping Ambrose will prevent Kane from winning the Money in the Bank title match later on in the evening, rather than Rollins returning the favor by helping Kane win the title. Backstage segment with Byron Saxton asking Randy Orton what his chances on the Money in the Bank match are. Orton said that they are better than anyone else's and said that he would leave it at that. He said he would leave WWE World Champion whether anyone likes it or not. You get it? He would leave WWE as World Champion, according to the reporter. I don't think he's leaving anytime soon. His contract was like 10 years. Saxton asked Orton about Reigns. Orton glared at him. Saxton thanked him for his time. And aired for Vicky Guerrero special that will air on WWE's network on Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Broadcast team spoke about the greatness of the WWE network at ringside. So great that it goes down. Goldust of Stardust versus Ryback. Axel wore new gear with an axe on the back that looked like it belonged on the front. Similar to the old Russian gimmicks. Axe and sickle. Whatever. Ryback will still have matching red hats. There was a rough spot early on where Cody did a half-hearted whip of Axel into the ropes. Both Stardust and Goldust were laid out and had to hop over both of them. Fortunately, Stardust played his part well, and the crowd was responsive for a couple of minutes. Things slowed down once Stardust tagged out. He stopped the foot on the ring apron in an attempt to get the crowd going. Later, Stardust dumped Axel to ringside when Goldust held the top rope down. What the hell was that? JBL asked. Stardust hit Crossroads on Ryback and had him pinned. But Axel broke up the pin. In the end, Stardust rolled up Axel and pinned him. Axel threw a fit afterwards. But Goldust and Stardust teamed up for a double team DDT move. And the match took 7 minutes 40 seconds. Still not sold on Stardust, even though he was a highlight of the match. Actually needs to ditch his new gear and make his go back to being singles career to me. Similar to the gear, he needs to bring back his the gear that his father wore. I really like that, but the colors definitely didn't work for him. If the goal was to bring the crowd down from the previous match, it sure did. Broadcast team then recapped the love triangle storyline, and then the milk, cat litter, etc. Videos were shown backstage. Saxon interviewed Fandango, who wore a bedazzled referee shirt. Fandango loves a triangle. Fandango said. Saxon asked how he could call the match down the middle. Layla showed up and flirted with him. Then Summer showed up and did the same. A huge step backwards for the women's movement. Fortunately, they were nice enough to go to a different match rather than subject the world to that segment, followed immediately by their match. Rusev versus Big E. Atlanta cut a promo before the match. He was doing the preacher bit as he spoke about standing up for the forefathers. Similar was that he was doing to the SmackDown. During a pop box promo that aired as he walked to the ring, to very little reaction, he performed a nice overhead belly to belly suplex style as he was doing. Then he performed a spear through the ropes, spot that stood out last month. Then he rolled Rusev back inside the ring, covered for a 2 count. Rusev came back, wiping blood from his lip. Rusev took the straps off his singlet, and Rusev rolled outside the ropes. He tried to grab him, but Rusev pushed him back and caught him with a kick. Then followed up with a running kick. Rusev yelled. Then Lana told him to crush him. Rusev applied the accolade. E.T.'s forcing his way out, but Rusev locked it in again and got the win. 7 minutes, 30-second match. He didn't even seem to be over with the crowd when he made his entrance, and the silly preacher routine isn't going to help him. However, he does a nice job of getting the crowd behind him once the bell rings. I like the way he fought through the pain a bit, only to have Rusev sit down on his back for the accolade and lock it in for the win. Don't try this at home video aired. The panel spoke again. No one is drinking their Mountain Dew. Backstage, Nikki Bella was talking to Brie Bella. Stephanie walked in as my feed came in just for that one segment, briefly, and asked what she was doing here. She pretended she couldn't hear Brie and scolded Nikki. Brie said she had a favorite video and showed Stephanie the footage of Vicky Guerrero shoving Stephanie into the pool of the mud pudding. Stephanie called for security to escort Brie out of the building from a commercial aired on a pay-per-view. Match number 7, Summer Rae versus Layla with Fandango as special referee. Layla threw Summer to the floor and then danced for Fandango. Summer pulled her down from behind and then stuck her foot on her throat in the corner. Fandango started to count, but he stopped as he was mesmerized by her leg. You see a Punk chant broke out. Briefly, in the end, Layla caught Summer with a kick and then pinned her. Fandango kissed her afterwards. Summer acted like she was crying. Awful match. The fans have no reason to like any of the three. I actually feel bad for all three of them because they were thrown out there with such awful storyline support. A movie commercial aired. The video package set up the main event and recapped Daniel Bryan being stripped of the WWE World Heavyweight title. Match number 8. John Cena versus Roman Reigns versus Sheamus versus Bray Wyatt versus Cesaro with Paul Heyman versus Kane versus Alberto Del Rio versus Randy Orton in the Money in the Bank match for the vacant WWE World Heavyweight title. And according to Ringside News, there was a new entrant called Vacant. And they were saying Vacant was going to win the title. Well, Justin Roberts introduced Triple H and Stephanie McMahon prior to the main event. And they were saying Vacant has the title as well. So they're calling it the Vacant World title. And again, Justin Roberts introduced Triple H and Stephanie prior to the main event, and they walked to ringside. Wyatt Custom to the City video introduction aired prior to the visits. Cena got a better reaction than usual. Hometown. Stephanie appeared to be the only person clapping for Orton. Reigns entered through the crowd. Kane was out last. Either Cena's barber had a bad day, or he's developing a large bald spot. It happens to be the best of us. Anyway, some of the heels established that every man for himself a bit early. Cesaro and El Del Rio fought over a ladder. Then ran into Orton. Wyatt then splashed the ladder and on the heels. Kane was the exception as he set up a ladder and then encouraged Orton to grab the title belt. But Reigns broke that up 6 minutes in. Cena got the better of Wyatt and then sent a signal for the 5 knuckle shovel to a mixed reaction. But Cesaro blasted him with an uppercut. Cesaro and Sheamus made a play for the title belts. Wyatt Crab walked underneath them for no apparent reason. Cesaro and Sheamus hung for the title belts. Sheamus fell first, and eventually Cesaro did as well, both without title belts. Footage aired of the ladder hitting Orton's head. It busted him open. Later on, we found out that he had to have 12 stitches. And when Reigns knocked him off when Roman Reigns knocked him off the ladder early in the match, back live, Orton was cut above the eyebrow and over the top of his head. But he fought at ringside with Sheamus, as you will see on the Monday Night Raw, from the Monday Night Raw event, that he pointed to Cena about his head, or to Roman Reigns. As they fought at ringside with Sheamus next to the broadcast table. Sheamus slammed the head of Orton into a ladder, and that was resting on the ring apron. And on the edge of the broadcast table, Orton actually slammed his head into his forearm rather than the ladder this time. 14 minutes, 30 seconds. I guess you learned your lesson. Sheamus performed a brogue kick on Cena and then said, "You can't see me, fella." Sheamus set up a bigger ladder in the middle of the ring, but got caught brawling with Kane. Cesaro set up a second ladder by replacing it between the standing ladder rungs and the middle rope. Then went to the top and fought with Sheamus. Reigns let out a primal scream and then tipped over the ladder, which tilted into a leading position. Because of the second ladder, both men remained fighting on the top of the ladder, and then Cena pushed it back into the standing position, only to be taken out by Wyatt. Kane ran Wyatt into the ladder. Kane pulled Cesaro down, leaving Sheamus with both belts. Kane and Orton scrambled to pull Sheamus down. Kane took the second ladder out and put it at ringside, leaving the one ladder standing in the ring. As Kane positioned the ladder, Reigns speared him, then Orton shoved the ladder onto the back of Reigns. Short time later, Reigns caught Orton with a Superman punch. He ran towards Sheamus, who kicked him, but Reigns came back with another Superman punch. Reigns performed Superman punch on Del Rio, roughed up Wyatt at ringside, hit another punch on Del Rio, then speared Cesaro on the floor. Reigns entered the ring, and Cena followed to a lot of boos. Reigns turned and saw Cena, and then they had to stare down. Cena looked up at the title belts, then they traded punches. There was a big reaction for the stare down, but the crowd fired up as they traded offense and cheered when Reigns speared Cena at 21 minutes 15 seconds in. Reigns set up and climbed the ladder, but Orton pulled him down to perform the sidewinder backbreaker off the ladder. Triple H and Stephanie were shown applauding from ringside. Wyatt recovered and pulled Orton off the ladder, then dropped him with Sister Abigail. Wyatt got the biggest pop of the match. He climbed the ladder, and Del Rio stopped him with punches, which drew boos from the crowd. Del Rio hit his running kick in the corner, and then followed up with a super kick on the kneeling Wyatt. Del Rio climbed the ladder and grabbed both title belts. Then Sheamus entered the ring and pushed the ladder over. Del Rio fell into the ropes and ate a brogue kick. Sheamus set up the ladder and climbed up again, but Cesaro returned to the ring and pulled him off the ladder into an uppercut. Cesaro hit the neutralizer. Cesaro climbed the ladder himself, but Orton pulled him off into an RKO, which drew a pop from the spectacle of it. Orton climbed the ladder at 24 minutes 45 seconds in, but Reigns returned to the ring and fought with Orton on the ladder. Orton, who was bleeding, heavily from the cut on the head. Took a few headbutts from Reigns. Kane returned to the ring and chokeslammed Reigns off the ladder. Kane held the ladder in place while Orton looked down at Hunter and Stephanie and smiled. Then John Cena returned to the ring and hit the adjustment on Kane. Then performed the same move on Orton and then dropped him onto Kane. Cena then climbed the ladder and took both title belts to win the match. Triple H and Stephanie did not look happy with Cena winning. The announcers hyped that Cena now was 15-time champion. John Cena won the match to defeat and win from the vacant champion in 27 minutes even. A good match with non-stop action. They did a better job of not having guys disappear for ridiculous length of time in this match rather than they did in an earlier match. And I actually enjoyed the first of the two Money in the Bank matches as the feed came back in. I get to see Cena taking down the belt. So I knew he won. And that was it for the pay-per-view. Actually, I enjoyed the first two of the Money. First, more than the stakes that were lower. There wasn't even a hint of a cash in. I was expecting to cash in, but there wasn't any. Sure, there will be plenty of crumbling over Cena winning, but it sure looks like he could be a transitional champion if the plan is to put the title on Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam or later this year. Overall, I was not a fan of the match order. It was a tough show to lay out in regards because there was only 3 strong matches on paper. Still, it felt like they saved too much of the Raw-like filler content for the second half of the show. Still, it's hard to complain about the entertainment aspect on a night when so many wrestlers work their asses off and put their bodies on the line in the Money to Make matches, and even in the tag title match. Though I'm sure plenty of people will simply because of the result of the main event and what will be dubbed predictable Money to Bank match outcome, since we already knew that it was announced on other issues. Cena versus Brock Lesnar is scheduled for SummerSlam. Thanks for your time, patience, and if you didn't know, you better call me, bro.